book I'm stacking the shelves for the week preceding January 9th. I remembered without looking. So I did get, I have to count now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books this week. And they're a combination of a lot of stuff: review books, some I bought, library books, borrowed through Kindle Unlimited. So I'll go ahead and start going through them. The first one I'm super excited about. I just found out yesterday that I got this for review, and it is like my most anticipated book of 2021. And I was actually a little conflicted. Like, I was super excited to get for review, but it's supposed to come out mid-year. And so now I'm like, oh my God, if I read it now, like, what am I going to look forward to the rest of the year? But that book is A Master of Jin by P. Djèlí Clark. This is the third book in the Fatma series, which is a steampunk series set in historical Cairo. Basically, the overall world premise is that Jin came into the world and made technology, especially in that part of the world, much more advanced than it had been. And the first 2 books were more like novella length, and that is Dead Jin in Cairo and The Haunting of Tramcar 015. I absolutely love them. So very excited to get A Master of Jin early. I was so excited. I was sitting there almost like, just so excited. I'm not really a squealer, but if I were, I probably would be squealing in excitement because I'm so excited to read this book. It comes out May 16th, and I got it through NetGalley to review, so I really appreciate Tor.com letting me review a copy of this book because I'm just so excited to read it. So it's just all downhill from there. I should just stop now. No. But that's the only book I got for review, and I'm just, as I said, just ecstatic about it. All right. I did buy 2 books for Kindle. I thought it was 3. I think I bought 2 books for Kindle. You know, it was 3. Shoot. Hold on just a second. Let me at least get the name. All right. I don't know where it went. I put out a little thingy for it, and maybe it fell down somewhere. Anyways, all right. So I did buy 3 books for Kindle. For those of you who are big Kindle readers, they are doing a Kindle reading challenge, and you do get like a $5 gift certificate to spend on Kindle books if you complete parts of this challenge. And a part of it is like borrowing a book from Kindle Unlimited and like buying a book for your Kindle and then reading so many days in a row and stuff like that. So I went ahead and I did buy a couple books for Kindle that I have had on my list to read soon. And the first one of those is a really cheap, more of a short story, and that is The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Stetson. This is a story that I've heard a lot about for a number of years, and I keep wanting to read it. And it's pretty short. I think it's like 50 pages long, and it's about a woman who gets secluded during Victorian times for some ailment she has or something like that in a room with yellow wallpaper. And during the course of her seclusion, she slowly goes insane. It's supposed to be very well written and kind of an interesting look into the time period. So I am excited to read it and happy that I finally got it because I've had it on my, wish list for a long time. So that is the first one. Excuse me. The second one I bought for Kindle it's like 200 some pages long, so not exactly a novella, but not exactly a full-length book either. And I don't have a picture of it with me, but I will put one up in the video. And that is Silver in the Wood. And I've had this on my list for a while. It's kind of a random, like less popular book, but it's about a man who's basically a green man or a wild man who takes care of this section of woods, and he has like cats and dryads and everything, and he lives a pretty peaceful life until somebody else comes onto the property and causes issues for him. For some reason, when I read the synopsis of it, it reminded me a lot of like Charles D. Lint, like earlier books, and I was really intrigued by it. And so it's been on my wish list for a while, and it was cheap for Kindle, so I went ahead and got it. And it is a duology. It's called the Green Hollow duology. So I'm excited to read that one as well. And then the final one that I bought for Kindle is Gods of Jade and Shadow by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. I read Mexican Gothic by her last year and really liked it. And so I had added a couple more of her books to my wish list. All I know about this book is it's set kind of in the jazz era, so probably 1920s-ish. and it features a young woman who works, I believe, cleaning houses and finds like this mysterious box that releases this like dark god. I was very impressed with Mexican Gothic, and I don't think I gave it 5 stars. I think I gave it 4 because of some stuff that happened like towards the end of the book, but I'm intrigued because she set that book in an interesting historical setting, because like a lot of historical paranormal fantasy books are set in either Victorian area or like in old American times, but this was actually set in Mexico. And I think this one, I'm not sure. Anyways, it's set in an era, but in a different location than I'm used to. So I wanted to check out more of her books and just see how I like the rest of her writing style. So that's why I got Gods of Jade and Shadow. All right, then the one I bought through Kindle Unlimited, I don't even really want to show the cover, but I will. It's so like typical like romancy whatever, and it's Nightmare in Steam. It's the first book of the Alliance of Silver and Steam by Lexi Astro. You've got very like romancy cover going on, which I don't really like. Anyways, it's about a female inventor who is a part of the Inventing Guild and invents weapons to fight demons, and apparently she meets a demon that, I don't know, she falls in love with, or they kind of have a love-hate thing going on or whatever. That's all I know about it. It was on my list of, I have a list on Amazon of Kindle Unlimited series I want to try. And it was on there as a steampunk Kindle Unlimited series I want to try. So I went ahead and borrowed it as part of this Kindle reading challenge. All right. The last 2 books I got from the library. The first one, so I do always like look at like best of book years lists. And even if they're kind of outside of my comfort zone, I will pick out a couple to read from that. House in the Cerulean Sea was one I read from kind of a best of, although it's not really on my comfort zone, it's still a fantasy book. And then I also picked up Bone Shard's Daughter, which I had kind of been looking at throughout the year, but people loved it so much that I picked it up. Again, not really outside my comfort zone, it's another fantasy. But this one is one that's probably outside of what I would normally read, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. It's one of those books I heard a lot of good things about it early on, and now that more people are reading it, I'm hearing like a lot more mixed things. And that is Luster by Raven Leilani, I think that's how you would say that. This I don't know a ton about, but I know it's about a young woman who I think lives in like London or something. Bushwick somewhere, I don't know. Oh, never mind. New Jersey. I don't know. I was thinking London. She's basically a woman in her 20s trying to kind of make her way working as an admin, and gets involved in this weird relationship between a husband and a wife. And I don't know. It almost sounds like one of those books that got popular because it has stuff in it that people wouldn't normally be acceptable to read about, but now it's mainstream. Kind of like The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Like, I read that one after it was so popular, and I actually didn't think it was a great story. I thought it was kind of sensationalized, and I thought there was a lot of extra like violence and sex in there that didn't really need to be there for the story, but because it was so popular, people were like, oh yeah, kind of like Shades of Grey too, like like, oh, this is so awesome and we can read this because it's popular now, but normally we wouldn't read it because who knows what people would think of us or whatever. And I kind of wonder if this is going to be like that, just a little over sensationalized, but I don't know. It's not a very long book. I thought I'd pick it up and read it, and maybe I'll really love it. To be honest, I tend not to love a lot of the books that end up being super mainstream that a lot of people do love. A lot of times I think they're a little overrated, but we'll see. I'm excited to read it, and I'm actually surprised I got it so fast, because I think when I put it on my wish list at the library, I was like number 80 or something like that, and that was a couple months ago, and I expected it to, be on my wish list for longer at the library on hold. All right, the next one I got, I just kind of realized was a mistake to get, and that is Battleground by Jim Butcher. This is the 17th novel in the Jim Butcher series. This was another one that I had on hold at the library that was really far down the wait list, but I got it pretty quickly. Although when I got it, I was really confused because I was like, well, what happened to Peace Talks? Because wasn't that going to come out in 2020? And it did. I found out Peace Talks actually came out in April of 2020. Somehow I missed it and never put it on hold at the library. And I did see Battleground come out, which just came out in like October or November. And I don't know why he suddenly released 2 full-length books this year. I believe his last full-length book was Skin Game, and that was released in 2014. So it's been 6 years since he's done a full-length book, and then he releases 2 in 1 year. So I honestly, I get a little bit frustrated with authors who take 5 or 6, 7 years to write another book in a series. And I do understand that's a very successful series, and so they're able to kind of, maybe they don't want to rush it. Maybe they're creatively not feeling it, and I understand that. But I tend to drop authors like that, especially when they're so far into a series. So I was kind of debating not picking up Peace Talks and Battleground, and the reason I'm telling you this is I'm just a little bit out of tune with my Jim Butcher information right now. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't think I put Peace Talks on hold at the library when I figured all this out. So I probably won't be reading this anytime soon. I'm going to read Peace Talks first. I'm also going to read a little bit and try to figure out, is this the final book in the series, or is he going to continue to drag this on forever? I don't feel like there's an overall game plan here. For a while, I really liked that there was, contained mysteries in each book, and then there's that overarching story that kind of goes through the whole series. But I feel like I lost that thread at some point, and so I'm not sure. I think Skin Game I gave 4 stars. Usually I'm I was a diehard Dresden Files fan, 5 stars every book. I'm watching the TV series. I'm rereading the series every year. And I just lost it. I think I lost it around Skin Game. I just, I was okay, whatever. So the one maybe it was even the one where he was a ghost for a while or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll read Peace Talks and the Battleground and just be in love with them both and wish I had read them sooner. Yeah. So that's what I got to say about that. So those are the books I got this week. I actually didn't think I was going to get that many books, but, things being what they were, as I said, the ones at home in the library came back much quicker than I came up for me to pick up, much quicker than I expected. And then I bought the Kindle ones just for this Kindle challenge to get my little $5 thing off by the end of the month. So exciting stuff. Yeah, I'm actually recording this on Wednesday morning before the weekend, right after we spent Tuesday night trying to watch all the stuff at the Capitol that happened, and I'm happy that that is over and then not too many people got injured. That was just something that just blew me away. I was having trouble even processing that whole thing. But I'm glad Joe Biden has been confirmed as our president. I mean, it was basically a formality anyways. I just don't understand all the violence and craziness that's going on. And I hope that this isn't a political channel, but I hope that President Trump is held accountable for the chaos he has caused. I'm not hopeful that will happen because so far it hasn't happened. But this was a whole new level of, it just blew me away. I could not believe what happened there, but hopefully it will be resolved, and I'm curious to see how things unfold, because there were some other issues around that whole, why didn't security, why wasn't there more security, why wasn't there quicker response, and what was the point of all this, and was it premeditated, and what role did social media play? There's a whole bunch there that's very socially intriguing to me, but hopefully we won't go through that ever again. Aside from that, our lives are going fairly well. The weather here has been fantastic for January, Minnesota. For those of you who know Minnesota, usually January is the month where we're in the negative temperatures. That's when school gets canceled because the wind chill's -70 or whatever. Or they changed the way they measured the scale. It feels like -45 or something like that now. When I was a kid, it was a -70 wind chill, but now that's equivalent of a -45 wind chill because they do it by skin temperature. Anyways, it's been in the upper 20s and mid 30s, which feels springish, almost tropical. The snow has melted off of our driveway, which normally once it snows, it's there until April. So it's been really nice. We've actually been having mornings with freezing fog which is another delightful thing you can have in a colder climate. Because it is getting really foggy because the humidity and the temperature is really high for this time of year. And then when the temperature dips below 30 overnight, the fog can freeze on things. So now all the accidents and issues have not been being caused with snow and ice, but by freezing fog on the roads. Luckily, I am still only going to work a couple times a week, so I can kind of schedule it around weird freezing fog and snowstorms and ice and all this other stuff. That being said, it's super nice this year to be able to still get outside and do walks and hikes because it is so warm for this time of year. Other news, we did finally make the decision to pull my son from hockey. We went back. Well, so he started practice again this Monday. They were supposed to be wearing face masks. He came back fairly upset because half his team was like not really wearing face masks. They were like below the kids' noses, or the kids were sitting down on the bench and just taking off. A lot of the face masks are attached to the hockey helmet so that the kids can drink and stuff when they're practicing. They can lift it up and drink. But a lot of kids were just flat out taking their helmets off and their masks off. And I think some of the coaches were trying to help with it. Some of them were just like, whatever, don't wear your face mask if you're uncomfortable. So there's very like varying attitudes here. And with this new, more contagious variant of COVID-19, it hasn't been confirmed in Minnesota yet, but we are paying attention to that. We just decided, my son was upset, like he was trying to sit separate from these kids, and he was upset that they weren't wearing it, and I was upset to hear that wasn't being enforced. And kind of the straw that broke the camel's back was the team decided that they wanted to go ahead and do this tournament in a small town in Minnesota where there's like 1 or 2 hotels. So you're talking like 8 hockey teams staying in 1 or 2 hotels. And we just know, given the history of hockey tournaments, it's going to be like kids going in and out of rooms and parents, you know, congregating and ordering in food. And it's just not going to be a very good socially distanced situation. So we talked about going to a tournament and like staying at a cabin at a nearby resort. But then, I mean, that's the whole point of the tournament, right? Is my son getting to socialize with the kids and have a good time with them. And he wouldn't be doing that. And just given the fact he's not having fun, I'm stressed out by what's going on, and the attitude of the parents. Not all the parents, I'm sure. It's just the outspoken ones, of course, that you hear from. But the biggest thing they were upset about the tournament was not safety. It was about, oh, well, what do you mean I can't watch my kid and there's no spectators and I'm losing money on this? And that was kind of the attitude. And then they were talking about carpooling down in vans and just a lot of red flags for us. So we decided as a family to pull him. And he will continue to play hockey. He'll be signing up for some summer leagues and stuff. But he played for a couple months this year. And then, you know, youth sports was stopped. And now we just feel like things still aren't being taken very seriously by the league. So we're done. So that was probably too much. I was super upset about what was going on. And I think my husband's a little bit more like, well, it's probably fine. We just won't go to the tournament. And then my concern was like, well, so what? His whole team goes to the tournament, then what are you going to do? Like quarantine him from being with his team for 10 days or something after they get back from the tournament? And how is that all going to work out? So yeah, I feel like guilty about that decision because I pushed to not have him play. And I think I pushed my son in that direction, and we let it be his decision, but I know I pushed pretty hard, and now I'm both relieved and kind of guilty feeling that I did that. But anyways, that's all my personal drama. On a up note, we did decide we're going to rent a cabin up north for a few days at the end of January and go out and do some hiking and snowshoeing and maybe sledding and skiing or whatever on our own. So we haven't been out of the house anywhere since the end of August, I think. I mean, aside from like grocery shopping and stopping by the library. So we're really looking forward to just going somewhere, and we feel like it's pretty safe because we are going to rent a cabin on our own and just do like outside activities for a few days. So that'll be our first trip away from home in a long time. And it'll be nice to have our own kitchen stuff so we can bring food up and just hang out in the cabin. All right. I probably bled on long enough. I hope that you guys did get a good week of reading in and got some new great books for Christmas and for the New Year. Spent your gift cards or whatever. I am going to be trying to do videos every Wednesday and Saturday. So I think the one I have planned for next Wednesday is the top 10 new authors I am excited to read in 2021. So that should be an interesting post. I'm working on pulling all that together right now. All right. Well, I hope you have a great week of reading, and I will talk to you on Wednesday. Bye.